welcome back for another lovely video, and I'm going to go ahead and jump right in and do this because I have a feeling it's going to run a little long. So I wanted to quickly do my intro for this, and then I'll probably just finish the outro and the other setup because I'm going to quickly switch camera angles here in a minute to get into the whole point of this video. Since we're getting close to Samhain and all of the festivals that go along with that, whatever you want to call it, Halloween, Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos, Samhain, it's pronounced so many different ways. We all know what it means, but we are here today to discuss a few small, I think they're excuse me, my sinuses are messing up and it's a little stuffy in here, but there are a few things that I think every basic or beginner Wiccan witch needs, so I'm going to quickly run through some of those, at least what I found helpful, because I've been one my entire life. I was brought up to be one, so I had a learning experience, with my grandmother. She told me kind of the basics of what I needed, and as my craft has grown and changed with me, I've adapted and changed new things. But this is just a few things that is few recommendations, I believe, for every beginner to get started. There are lists out there a million miles long. There's so many different pages and everything, but sometimes it can get confused between the media and what's real. So that's why I figured it's probably good for us people that have been either raised or have been doing it for umpteen years should kind of voice our opinions about what we found most helpful when we first got into the practice. So let me quickly jump camera angles and I'll meet you back in a second. Okay, so now that I have everything laid out and set up, and I had to make sure I had my notes out too, because there's a lot of information and I wanted to make sure I got it right out to you. So this is the majority of what mine kind of looks like on a daily basis. I don't have a way to be able to keep mine out all the time, so I do have to keep everything kind of stored and put away until I'm actually using them. So the first things I want to talk to you about is, if you have nothing else in this list, this is something that I think that is vitally important. So let me move everything, but I kind of just wanted to show you like what my stuff looks like on a regular basis. So let's go ahead and move everything out of the way. Okay. So the main things I want to talk to you about are your grimoires or your book of shadows, whichever word you choose to identify your book with, or you can call it a journal, whatever have you, as long as it is something is in a safe place, something that is what you're going to be using for your practice, for your information, for everything that you need in whatever you're doing. This is where you're going to keep all that information. Now, these are just two that I'm choosing to show you. I have other ones, but those are a bit more personal and private and they're more traditional, let's put it that way, that they're more family oriented grimoires that I'd prefer not to show on camera, just because of the sentiment. There's a lot behind it, but either way, these are two that I don't mind showing you. This is one that I recently started doing. This has a little bit different information in it, but and I've chosen the books based on their theme. So like this one, it has more of things that you need to watch out for, like your demons, your curses, and all the bad negative things in it. I keep all that information here, whereas this has more of the information where I'm slowly coming to learn certain things about me and my practice and different things I do, and I jot all that information down in here. So this one is a bit more full, and thankfully one thing that I do love about it is it's had these two markers in it, so wherever I stopped writing my information, that is where I put that one, which is this one mainly, and then here in the back is we're getting through our holidays, so that is where I mark that to let me know what next holiday there is and what information I need to get out for that. So just to give you a quick kind of recap, and I do have like note cards and stuff, and another thing I love is it has this little pocket here in the back so I can shove like recipe cards in there. But just to give you a quick little thing, this is where I keep all of my information, and there has a lot of pages for me for what I need, and I have it set up a specific way based on what I'm doing with this one, whereas this, it's more kind of in alphabetical order for things. So, and this one's not nearly as full either, because I'm still, this is a long work in progress, where this is more an everyday kind of thing, and this is the one that I take out in public. This is the one that is pretty much with me all the time, where all the other ones are more, those are more my home ones that never leave the house kind of deal. So that, like I said, that has more of the family tradition stuff in it, whereas this one's more for my own personal stuff. So that's why you base your notebooks and you base your grimoires, your book of shadows, on what you need and your specific things. I know people out there, they buy all the different ones, but personally, I feel it's better if you can take that information, and you don't necessarily need to buy the book because it's all available online anyways, but you take the information and then you refine it and you tweak it to more your own personal taste, because that's the one thing about Wicca, is everything we do is a bit more personal and a bit more refined to our own thing. There's not really a set kind of rule for everything. Now obviously the Wiccan read is a bit more set in that, but other than that, there's not too much of a set thing. And that's one thing that bugs me about certain people, is they like to say you can only do this, this, and this, when you can do it to your own personal means, because everybody's energy is different, everybody's intentions are different, everything is different for each individual. So that's why I say multiple books, multiple reasons to have those books. Now, the next thing that I think is pretty basic for people is to have your candles and your different crystals. So I have, this was my first ever box to keep stuff in, and this is one that I recently added. So let me try and squeeze everything in here. There we go. And this one keeps more stuff in it, and it keeps more of the candles, but your different crystals are going to be important. For me, I keep a large portion of my crystals in this one that I use, where my other crystals and my little crystal ball is stored in this one. But the main ones that I use honestly are the clear quartz, because they can use to substitute for about any gemstone. Now my other ones I do have are some amethyst, just because I'm more drawn to amethyst, and then I do have some stones shaped in specific animals for different reasons. So that is the main thing you want to help the candle. Obviously you can get these big pillar candles from the Dollar Tree, you can get the little tea lights, and then you can get the different colored candles right here, as you can tell, to represent the different elements. But candles help with specific rituals, and you know, the crystals help along with that to enhance the actions that you're trying to achieve. So depending, you want to try and pair your crystal and your candles to work with you to make sure the energy flows. But like I said, white and clear quartz can kind of be substituted for just about anything. You want to use, for me, your basic candles that your basic crystals that you really want to use are your clear quartz, your amethyst, and then whatever your birthstone is. So you want to look up your Wiccan birthstone. I believe mine is, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say this one's it, the snowflake, but I can't remember right offhand because I don't use it that often. I'm more drawn to the quartz and the amethyst, so that's more of what I use. But for some people, they do find using their birth crystal to help them a lot more than any other crystal. So that's another thing that you kind of want to be aware of. But mainly these are my two. But let's see here, what else? See, amethyst, the main reason I use amethyst is because it energy protection, it amplifies good luck and promotes peace, where the clear quartz manifests dreams, desires, wealth, prosperity, and good fortune. It can be used to substitute for any crystal. So that's why I say just go ahead and get you a good bit of clear quartz. Now it's taken me a while to kind of track down the ones that I have, because you do want to be mindful where you get your clear quartz from, because obviously some is not mined ethically, so you do want to try and get some that is mined ethically. And that's why I don't have that much, to be honest, because it does take me a while to kind of track down, you know, good sourced crystals, just to make sure that, you know, we're not messing up the environment, we're not giving people low wages and everything. And some of my stuff is better than others just because, you know, you get lucky whenever you go and find things, and then some of it is not as clear, but it still gets the job done. You know, it's all about whatever you work. Now, some people don't believe in using crystals, some do. It just, for me, it just kind of depends. I mainly use these whenever I'm making a circle before I do things, or if I'm making some moon water, I'll use these. But I don't rely on crystals too terribly much, but I do think they are a good basic tool depending on, you know, what you want to do. Now, so there is those. Same thing with the candles. I do use a lot of candles. Now I'll go with that one. I use a lot of these big white ones because you can easily put herbs in the top of them. You can get these big ones from the Dollar Tree, no problem. They're easy to set up around, and you don't have to really worry about you catching your house on fire with these. They last a long time. And they are starting to do different colors at the Dollar Tree for these big pillar candles. So I highly recommend getting these, and you'll use these constantly. I use these constantly in everything that I do, especially with Samhain coming up. You know, you're supposed to leave one sitting in the window for your ancestors. These are the candles that I use. Not this one, because I noticed after I bought it, and as you can tell, it hasn't been used that much because it does have a big crack in the side. So I'm gonna have to figure out what to do about this one. I might just see if I can melt it down and repurpose the wax on the inside a different way, but there's that. So just make sure you have your candles. Okay, so let's set all of this to the side. And let's see here. Your next thing, now I don't have a pretty one. I used to have a pretty one, but again, it's not a tool that I use that often. I use it when I'm doing specific things, so that's why a wine glass works perfectly for me. And I have a bunch of different ones that I kind of cycle through for things. My good ones are packed up right now. The one that I would prefer to show you is packed up, but this just gives you the idea of you can use just a regular wine glass, or you can get the really pretty, you know, stainless steel ones, or they have different ones that... Okay, sorry about that. My memory card decided to be full on me, so thankfully it didn't. I called it before it, you know, stopped recording too much. But back to the chalice portion of our little tool set here. So you want to get some kind of glass that you, ideally you would want it to be mainly dedicated to that purpose, but you don't have to really, because like I said, you don't really use it that often. Depending on how and what you practice. I find I only use it for specific times, and you know, I mainly use it on the holidays. I have to make like a drink or something, and I'll use that. Or whenever I make moon water, I either use this, or I do have a bowl that I use that is specifically designated for that, to hold the water in, because you can use this to hold your salt water and to hold your wine. I primarily use this, and I actually mainly use this one, and I have another one that they're both blue, and this is what I use during the holidays for my wines that I make for like Beltane and stuff like that. So that's what you mainly want to use these for. You can have one permanently on your altar. It's entirely up to you what you want to do. If I had a altar that I kept up all year round, I would probably have one specifically for that, but as of right now, I only use it whenever I really need it. So you want to kind of look around, and you want to really get one that kind of you're drawn to, that speaks to you, because like I said, I used to have a really pretty one, but as many times as I've moved, I really don't know where it is. So I mean, it wasn't big. You don't need one that's really big, and I kind of want to go back to the Renaissance Fair and see if I can't find a new one, because I don't know, something about that just gives me all the joy that I need for the cup that I want for my practice. So there is that. Now your next thing, this one's kind of small. Well, the one that I have is small, but I think in our next craft video, I'm going to be showing you how to make one for yourself that's a little bit bigger. So this is the next little item that you will need. It is a goddess elemental, however you want to term this, little stone plaque. Now mine is actual stone, it's been carved, and I got this. There used to be a Wiccan booth at the at the barnyard. There we go. At the barnyard here, which is a local flea market, they used to have their own little booth, and we could get herbs and stuff that we couldn't get anywhere else. And sadly, I think the gentleman, the last time I was there, he was having some health problems, so I do believe that booth is now closed. But you know, ideally you can probably find these online, and I was lucky enough to kind of pick one up here in my town. But you want to use these for protection against evil and negative energy, and it also helps you represent and have a good representation of the elements that we do honor in our practice. So like I said, I'm going to teach you how to make one of these for yourself. There's many different ways that you can have these represented, and if nothing else, if you can't get the plaque like this, because it took me a while to get a plaque, I did really just go ahead and have this sitting on my, well, not this one, I used the other one because I've had that one longer, but you can just get one of these boxes, and it, as you can tell, it has the pentagram engraved on it, and you always want to make sure that it's facing the correct way, you know, no negative energy here. But ideally you would want to have one of these plaques, but if you have to, you know, you can get something like this or some other thing. And they just put them out, and I'm going to go back and get some because I thought they'd be really, really pretty. But at Hobby Lobby they have these metal star candle holders, and I thought that would be really pretty because right in the middle you can put your big white pillar candle, and then it is your pentagram there. So I'm probably going to go back and get a few of them for that purpose. It's not what they're for, but that's what I'm going to use them for. So, but this is just something else to kind of help you, you know, keep that positive energy on your altar whenever you're doing things. So, and our last little item, and I'm very proud of this find, and I will link the person below that did make these, and I'm fixing to make some special ones for Halloween. But you know, if you want something like this, then I will link them below. But these are my witch's bells. Whee! Sorry all the headphone users, but these are my witch's bells. Now ideally you would like to have one that you keep on your altar all the time, but for me, I keep this on my door to help make sure, you know, it helps with negative energy. We're all about the not having negative energy around us and to cleanse our space, so that is what you can use the bells for. Now for me, I went with the black just because that is my color, along with purple. But then the stones, the snowflake obsidian, if I'm not mistaken, that's what it's called. And I want to say that was what my Wiccan birthstone is. Like I said, I could be wrong, but I also just like the way it looks and what it represents and how it promotes, you know, a good peaceful environment. And then you have your witch's bells at the bottom, and then it also has our lovely little representation of the god and goddess on there, along with the elements. So it's everything that we need to help to promote positive energy. Like I said, I keep these on my door, so whenever it opens and closes, you make sure nothing negative gets in. But you would prefer, you know, have one of these, or if nothing else, take this off your door and, you know, kind of use it whenever you're getting ready to do something positive at your altar. You want to have some bells to kind of help, you know, help with the atmosphere with that. You can be hung on doors to drive away negative energy, like I've said, and spirit, and helps to clear an altar of negative energy. So it's all about the energy that we're promoting. So that is this. This was made by a lovely woman here in South Carolina. She has a Etsy shop online, which is where I got these, and she has another set that's purple that I really want to get to because I have other doors that I would like for these to go on. So I want to get another set, but if I'm not mistaken, it's called Hands of Hermes. I want to say that's what it is. I'm going to link all of hers below if you would like to grab you a set of these. She's constantly making them, and they're lovely. They're absolutely lovely. So, and they're decently priced as well for what they are. But yes, so that is our witch's bells. Now, our last little item is a bonus item, and this is more of a me thing, so I'm going to bore you with it. But here we go. And I just recently put these in the shop. Now, I didn't put these specifically. I do have some spiderweb ones that I did, and they look, I'm probably going to make one for myself. Even though I love this one that I made, it was like my first one I ever made. I do really love the ones that I made for the shop for Halloween this year, so I'm kind of teetering back and forth which ones I want to use. But this is a pendulum board. If you're not familiar with a pendulum board, it can be used for a quick, ask a question, get an answer kind of thing. So you don't want to do anything real negative with it. You don't want to ask about people without their permission. You want to do something where you're going to ask about, let's see, what's a common question? oh god, I'm blank right now about what a common question would be to ask. But you want to ask, you know, kind of positive things, like a real, you know, should I do this or that kind of thing. It helps you make decisions easily. Now, some people do use this as a good divination tool to be able to talk to spirits. I don't recommend that, just because you never know who you're really talking to. And the same thing with a Ouija board. It could be used to have things come in that we're not entirely sure what they are, so be mindful of that. I mainly use it just for some quick little things, you know, if I have a question about something. Now, you never want to use it to ask about your health, because that answer can always change. Like I said, it's a board. It's not really going, like the spirits and stuff that you're asking, they're not really going to know, and you never know who you're really asking, so just kind of be mindful of that. You never want to ask about marriage questions, because that can always change depending on you, depending on that person, depending on so many different factors. So the board can only give you yes or no questions. Think of it as a, I think, what did Eddie say? It's a magic 8-ball with a little bit of a spiritual boost is what this is. And like I said, you don't want to ask about people without their permission, because that's just an invasion of privacy, and it's just not good practice to do that. So this is something that I use. Like I said, a lot of people use it for different things. Some people pair this with their tarot cards. There's many different ways that you can use this. I use this if I have just something that I'm kind of, if it's something I know the answer to, but I'm kind of unsure about, then I'll ask it, and that'll help me kind of make my decision toward that. Like if I have a question about a job, if I should do it or not, and you know, if I'm kind of on the fence, weighing my options back and forth, and you've made all your lists and stuff, and you still want that final little thing. Now, it does take time to learn how to use a Ouija board, use a pendulum board properly, so be mindful of that. It's not a quick thing. You need to learn your board, you need to learn your crystals, you need to get everything kind of right for you. And then you have to slowly work with that process. It's not a one and done kind of thing, and a quick answer kind of. It's a quick answer once you get the hang of it, but until that point in time, it's going to take you some practice. So I just figured I'd show you this. Plus, I love how my pendulum board turn out. It doesn't get showed off enough. Let's just say that. It kind of stays up most of the time because, like I said, I don't use it that often, but it's so pretty. It's so pretty. I'm so proud of it. This is like my first little wood burn project that I ever did, and I'm proud of it. But anyways, so that is some quick tips and quick little things that, you know, just a recommendation of what you can use for your practice, you know, just to get you started if you're kind of on the fence about what you really need, on what people are saying you should have, what you shouldn't have. Like I said, it's entirely up to you what you want to use. So just kind of play with everything, you know, if you can, and then figure it out from there. But like I said, the basics things, if you do nothing else from this video, is get you a book to write in. Get you a good book, a good journal that you can take with you, and you can write down everything that you might possibly need, everything weird that happens to you, every encounter that you think is significant, every little bit of information can be stored in one of these. And they're, you know, if you get something this size, it can go straight in your purse. You can whip it out whatever you need to. That's my biggest tip, is just to have a good book of shadows or a good grimoire that you can record important information to you as it comes to you. So just keep that in mind whenever and don't just jump for the first journal that you see. Give it some time, because I've had a few different ones, and I didn't really like them, but I got them at the time because I thought I'd need them, and now they just kind of sit in a drawer somewhere and gather dust. You want to get something that you want to use, that you're excited to use, because it gets you excited about your practice. So just always go with the energy and what it's telling you. So I hope you found this helpful. Like I said, these are just some quick tips. There are many other lists and tricks out there for things that you could use if you wanted to, but it's mainly about finding what's right for you. So just always keep that in mind. I hope y'all found this video helpful. Let me know down in the comments if you have any other suggestions, or if you want me to do a part 2 for some basic things that you can use, because there are other tools that are kind of basics that is a good recommendation, and I can totally do that. So like I said, let me know down in the comments. And that is it for this video. I'm sorry it ran a little long, but I figured it would, just because it's a lot of information to cover, and it's not a very quick thing to do. But I will see you on the next video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Bye.